Uh, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Prihatini Isbandiah. I am a student in English department in Muhammadiyah University of Surakarta. And in this video, I would like to present my research paper with the title Retaliation for Women's Superiority and Women at Point Zero Novel. My research paper discussed about retaliation that the main character did in the novel using individual psychology by Alfred Adler. First, Woman at Point Zero novel was written by NAWAL SAADAWI'S. This novel serves the story of Firdaus as the main character, a woman who lived in a patriarchal society and often experienced suffrage and discrimination. And as a woman who lived in a patriarchal culture, Firdaus got a lot of discrimination and seen as second-class people. And this encouraged her to feel disappointed and hatred toward men. And it is also influenced the condition of her psychology. And thus, by carrying out Adler's theory about individual psychology, the indicator of retaliation by the main character on the novel will be conveyed. And next is background of the study. First, the definition of retaliation. Retaliation is an action of responding to wrong behavior that done by others in a way to discomfort, damage, or injure as responsibility. Revenge. The desire of retaliations exists in human mind because people perceive injustice, negative treatment, and betrayal. And people who did retaliation usually motivated to seek for status, power, or personal satisfaction. In this study, the researcher used individual psychology by Alfred Adler, and this theory called individual psychology because this theory focused on the uniqueness of individual. There are six basic concepts of individual psychology. The first is fictional finalism, which defined as fiction that created by human to guide their striving for future, or it is created by human to guide their life in striving their goals. And the second is inferiority feeling. Inferiority feeling is the feeling of incomplete or unconfident in mentally or physically, and it is motivate human to strive and grow. And the third is striving for superiority. The striving for superiority is a form of compensation that the human did to cover up or to hide their inferiority feeling. And people have different ways to compensate their inferiority. And the fourth is style of life. Style of life defined as the unique character and behavior of each individual to reach their life goal. And the fifth is social interest. Social interest defined as collaboration with others for social improvement rather than personal gain. And social interest, it is a barometer of normality of life that could measure the usefulness of life. And the last is creative self. Creative self is the power that owned by human to create their way to achieve their life goal. And next is the method of the study. This study belongs to qualitative research because this research it is analyze about social science, they not contain the numerical data, and this research also interpret the data to get the meaning of social life. And the object of this study is women at point zero, and there are two types of data and the data source. The first is primary data, which is the quotation from the woman at point zero novel, and the secondary data, which are journals, books, and internet source related to the study. And the technique of collecting data, the first is reading the novel repeatedly, taking notes of important information. The last is classifying and categorizing the data based on research problem. And technique of analyzing data, the first is selecting the data which shows the indicators of retaliation using basic concept of individual psychology. And the second is describing the data that shows the indicator of retaliation. And next is result and discussion. In this research could be found 3 indicators of retaliation in the novel based on individual psychology. The first is inferiority feeling, the second is striving for superiority, and the third is creative power. The first inferiority feeling, from this research, it can be found two forms of inferiority feeling. The first is the main character feels inferior because of her gender. It could be seen when he lives with her husband. When she lived with her husband, she got violence from her husband, and she tried to seek for a help. So she visited her uncle's house, but her uncle said that it is common for husband to beat their wives. So she could not do anything, and she come back to her husband's house. And the second form of inferiority feeling is because of her economic condition. It is shown where he lived. It is also seen when he lived with her husband, although he got violence when she lived with her husband, but she could not leave her husband because she had anything to survive her life. So she has to live with her husband in order to survive her life. And the second is striving for superiority. It is also two forms of striving for superiority. The first is striving for personal satisfaction, and the second is for social status. The first form of striving for personal satisfaction is when she decided to become a prostitute in order to get close to a man, because if she get close to a man, she as a prostitute, she can insult men egoism by doing a rejection when men come to her to fulfill their desire. And the second is striving for social status. Firdaus compensate her inferiority feeling by gaining a social status. So she wants to become a respectable woman, so she used her wealth that she get to since she become a prostitute. she to get to seen as a honorable woman, she donor or she gave her money to a foundation, a social foundation, so people will know her as a philanthropist woman. And the last is creative power. There are two forms of creative power. The first is to survive her life, and the second is to gain her existence in the society. The first creative power, it is to survive her life. He decided to become a prostitute because during become a prostitute, she got a lot of money because a lot of money to and since she got a lot of money, she have a better life than before. And the second is to gain her existence in the society. To get her existence in the society, she by a journalist to publish her picture and write something good about her, so people will know her existence in the society. So the conclusion of this research is there are three indicators of revenge that the main character did, which are the first is inferiority feeling, the second is striving for superiority, and the last is creative power. Inferiority feeling shows when she offended by people who are superior to her, and this action make her feel angry and suffered. So inferiority feeling is the main character source to commit retaliation. And the second indicator is striving for superiority. It is her way to overcome her or to it is her way to overcome or to compensate her inferiority feeling. And being superior will help her to be more powerful that can secure her from people who usually insult her. And the last indicator is creative power. It is the main character capability to strive the superiority. The main character decides to become a prostitute as a way to commit her retaliation toward men. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you for attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.